In 1 Corinthians 14, Paul continues his teaching on spiritual gifts, shifting the focus to the proper use of prophecy and speaking in tongues within the church. He emphasizes the superiority of prophecy for building up the body of Christ and provides clear instructions for maintaining order in worship. Paul begins by reaffirming the supreme importance of love, but also encourages believers to seek spiritual gifts, especially prophecy. Pursue love and desire spiritual gifts, but especially that you may prophesy. While tongues, speaking in an unknown language, is a gift from the Spirit, prophecy is more beneficial to the church because it strengthens and encourages others. Paul makes a strong distinction between speaking in tongues and prophecy. He who speaks in a tongue edifies himself, but he who prophesies edifies the church. He explains that speaking in tongues is valuable, but must be accompanied by interpretation, or it becomes meaningless to others. Paul compares it to an instrument making unclear sounds. Without understanding, there is no benefit to the listeners. I thank my God, I speak with tongues more than you all, yet in the church I would rather speak 5 words with my understanding than 10,000 words in a tongue. Paul highlights prophecy's power to convict, encourage, and strengthen believers. If all prophesy, and an unbeliever or an uninformed person comes in, he is convinced by all. He is convicted by all. The goal of prophecy is to reveal truth, leading people to worship God and acknowledge His presence among them. Paul stresses order in the use of spiritual gifts to avoid confusion in church gatherings. Let all things be done for edification. He provides practical guidelines. If someone speaks in a tongue, let there be an interpreter. If there is no interpreter, they should remain silent in the church. Prophets should take turns speaking so that all can learn and be encouraged. Spiritual gifts should be exercised with self-control, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Paul also addresses women's role in church gatherings, instructing them to maintain respectful conduct and seek understanding through proper channels. He reinforces the need for humility and order in the assembly. Paul closes with a strong exhortation to honor God's design for worship. If anyone thinks himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things which I write to you are the commandments of the Lord. He encourages believers to desire prophecy while ensuring that speaking in tongues is handled properly and in order. 1 Corinthians 14 is a powerful reminder that spiritual gifts must be exercised with love, understanding, and order. Prophecy builds up the church. Tongues must be interpreted. Worship should be orderly, reflecting God's character of peace. Spiritual gifts should serve the body of Christ, not individual ambition. Above all, love must guide everything believers do. Worship that glorifies God is worship that edifies His people.